Hi.
I see the puppy.
Yeah, she just wanted to say hello and then she's leaving.
Okay, she's precious.
Yes, this is Magic.
She's
Her
beautiful.
name is Magic Morticia.
She's beautiful.
Take her away. I don't know, Hunter. I don't know. My dog Hunter usually sits next to me, but he's hiding today. So, if you could grab my notebook for me, I left it sitting on the bed like a ding dong. Okay, so I did have my first question. First of all, thank you so much for doing this for me. I appreciate it so much. You've just been so
You're
sweet to
welcome.
me. So I did have a question. There are two different stories that I've heard about Bathsheba. What is the
Okay,
real
well,
story?
first of all, before we... Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, my question was about that. I'm hearing two different stories about Bathsheba. What is the true story?
The true story is that she was not the one that was attacking my mother at the house.
Okay.
That she was not a member of the Arnold family. She was not a member of the Richardson family. That she was married to Judson Sherman, and she lived with him at the Sherman farm, which was about a mile away from our house.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that she was never at the farmhouse, of course. There were very few homesteads there in that area at that time. So, of course, they all knew each other. But the spirit that was haunting and taunting my mother was long dead before Bathsheba was even born.
Oh,
Bathsheba was born in 1812 and she lived until 1885.
Oh, wow.
And was apparently she was at the farmhouse. What history has recorded and what we know from the town historian when we moved in there was that a baby in her care died at the farmhouse, and that and we don't know if it was her own child or if it was another child.
Okay.
But it was a young baby, and apparently there was a needle found embedded at the base of its skull, and that it had died from convulsions. But what sprung up was a lot of rumor and innuendo that she had harmed this child in a ritual of practicing witchcraft, selling her soul to the devil for eternal youth and beauty, which, you know, in those days, there was so much superstition. I mean, throwing the word witch around could get you killed.
Yeah.
And she lived there was an inquest, and she was never found to have done anything wrong. When you consider that there was a sewing basket in practically every room of every house, it could have just been a terrible accident.
Right.
She's buried in hallowed ground in the middle of Harrisville. If she had done anything, so horrendous, I can't imagine that she would have been allowed to be buried, of whom died before the age of 4.
Right.
And lived a long, miserable life under the cloud of suspicion, rumor, and innuendo. But I just don't think that you should ever accuse somebody of murder unless you've got some real bona fide proof that they did it. And so I am her great defender.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Think,
That's why I wanted to ask you because, when I met you at Paracon, you had mentioned that, and I wanted to, if this is an innocent person, then I want to get that word out as well because I've seen and heard that people have been just defiling her grave, and that's not okay.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I wanted to
nothing
interrupt
okay
you
about
one
it.
second.
And all based on the fact that she was, and it was all based on the fact that she was vilified in a film that is predominantly fictional.
Correct.
That's the thing that is most upsetting.
Yeah.
You know, people are so easily swayed. They are so easily, I don't understand. I don't understand it. I mean, it's, to me, that is just horrific.
I
That,
know,
you know,
and it
based
seems
on
like
a
they
stupid
said, "Oh, that's a
movie.
nice scary name. We'll use it."
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Mrs. Warren said that she sensed a malicious or a malignant presence in the house, and she named her. She said her name is Bathsheba.
Oh.
You know, Bathsheba was not apparently like the nicest person.
Right.
The town historian that we met when we moved in there said he was 10 years old when she died. He was very old. He was in his 90s when we moved there. And he said that, you know, she was really horrible to her farmhands, that she would beat them and starve them and make them sleep out in the barn when it was 10 below zero and, you know, stuff like that. So apparently she wasn't, you know, exactly the most festive woman, but she also, you know, I can't even imagine how hard her life must have been. And, you know, to lose 3 of your 4 kids, to, you know, have the hardships that she faced, and then to have to live under that cloud, you know, almost like a shroud of suspicion for all those years, probably hardened her a lot and made her very bitter. But you know, I don't know. We'll never know everything that there is to know about her. Nobody is ever going to know everything that there is to know about her. But I think that she deserves respect, as anyone should respect the dead, and that she was just, I think she was given a really raw deal. It's just really unfortunate that because Mrs. Warren jumped to the conclusion that she was responsible for everything that happened in that house because she intuited her name, is a quantum leap in the wrong direction, as far as I am concerned. The spirit that was haunting and taunting my mother spoke to her in kind of a Middle English that was already archaic in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Used words like anon and 'twas mistress once afore ye came, and mistress here will be anon. You know, that's not language that was used in the 1800s when Bathsheba lived. And so, and Bathsheba died of a stroke, not from hanging.
Correct. Yeah.
And the spirit that was, you know, that was, coming after my mother, clearly had a broken neck. And Bathsheba died because her vital organ shut down after having a stroke.
Right. Right. I was wondering if I could introduce you to your biggest fan, who I told you about, loving your books. Would that be okay? Can I introduce?
Sure, of course.
Come here, Lovey. This is my daughter Tia, and she absolutely loves everything about you.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Tia. Oh, it's so lovely to meet you, sweetheart. Your mama loves you.
Yeah.
Your mama loves you.
Yeah, I just wanted to
It's
introduce
very
you.
nice to meet you, honey.
She's been so excited about this interview. When I was running around this house screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" Everybody thought I was insane, but not her, because she understood. She understood how, you know, how I feel about you and about, you know, your situation and everything. So she understood where I was coming from. Everybody else thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to introduce
It's okay.
because I know
She's
how
not
crazy you are
nuts.
about her.
It's very nice to meet you, sweetheart.
Oh, did you want to?
Yeah. It was great meeting you too.
Isn't she gorgeous?
If you have any questions, I'm right here for you.
I don't even know. Like, I'm a bit starstruck right now.
She's starstruck by you.
Oh, Don't be. I'm just Annie. I'm sitting here. The bottom half of me is in pajamas and I have unicorn slippers on. It's really, really hard to take me too seriously.
I gave you unicorn slippers, didn't I?
No, panda.
Oh, I have the unicorn slippers. We keep forgetting. Well, why don't you ask for this one?
So, I know that your family continued to stay in the house for another 10 years. Why was that? I mean, with everything going on.
Well, first of all, when we moved in the house, it was the beginning of an era that you're too young to remember
Right.
in this country. The late 60s and early 70s were a very turbulent time. There was a lot of civil and social unrest. The oil cartel was founded in the Middle East. They decided to corner the market on the price of oil and send it through the roof. So there were times when heating the house was more expensive than paying the mortgage.
Right.
It was a time when you could only buy gasoline every other day, depending on the numbers on the end of your license plate.
I didn't know that.
It was the housing market had busted. So basically, my parents had spent all the money they had in the world and that they could gather to buy this farm. And then it was losing value daily.
Yeah.
It was a really scary time financially. We were struggling as a family.
Yeah.
Although my parents never let us know that. I mean, there was always plenty of food on the table and there were always beautiful gifts at Christmas and they always found a way, but it was a very, very difficult time. That coupled with the fact that my father wasn't experiencing anything at the house, and just doubted that anything other than vivid imaginations were at work in this very old house, and he didn't believe in ghosts and spirits, and he just didn't think that could be happening. And so when my mother said we need to sell the farm, he's like, oh hell no, we just moved in here.
Right.
And nobody's going to buy the place if we just moved in and then turn around and put it back on the market. They're going to want to know what's wrong, and there's nothing wrong. So just get over this and stop it, and let's just live our lives and get through this hard time. And after the Warrens left, my father at that point knew exactly what was happening in the house. He could not deny it anymore. But after the Warrens left, we lived there another 6 years after they had already come and gone. And so there were many, many things that happened in the house that they didn't know about, but things quieted down quite a bit. And we kind of made peace with the situation.
Yeah.
We'd all been so exposed and so overexposed to the spirits that we shared the dwelling with that it was really, it had gone from being a terrifying situation to more of a curiosity and a fascination. And we seemed to have gotten to a more peaceful place. Like all the major manifestations had already occurred. And so they were usually minor things that would happen, which might seem pretty major to other people,
Right.
but compared with what we had been through, there was no comparison. So to see a rocking chair rocking on its own, oh, excuse me, or to see, something go flying across the room and hit the floor was like, oh, there they are. I mean, we got used to it. We just got used to it. We came to understand that we lived in shared space, and as long as we stayed peaceful, the spirits would generally stay peaceful.
We have a cat.
So that's why we stayed.
A ghost cat, not just
We
a
have
cat.
a ghost. We have a ghost cat that we named Zero.
No, that's the ghost dog.
Mhm.
Oh, the ghost dog.
Cat is just ghost cat.
Yeah, ghost cat, and then we have a dog, a ghost dog that we named Zero, and we just know that they're there. The dogs know. We kind of figured it out when the dogs kept staring at something, because we have we have right now 4 dogs, but unfortunately, our oldest dog is going to be going to the Rainbow Bridge after Christmas, and a cat, and the cat would just come flying up the stairs like terrified,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
dogs would just stop and stare at something, and then we all kind of looked at each other and said, "We got something in this house."
But I mean, it's never been
Yeah.
threatening.
Yeah.
It's always been playful.
And I feel someone sit on my bed at night sometimes. It's a person, it's not an animal because it's that gentle. And I just kind of hope it's my mother. And if it's not, then wow, I'm in for a big surprise. And one night I was
Yeah.
so tired, I have insomnia. I hadn't slept in 3 days. And I said, "Really?" And whatever it was just gently stood up and walked away. So I don't know what these things are, who they are, but it was nice enough to let me sleep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I've seen interviews where you've said, let me quote you correctly, truth is stranger than fiction, and they didn't want to use your true story. So, would you be willing to give me an example of something that was so frightening that they didn't want to use it?
Well, they wouldn't use anything in the books, really. They kind of cherry picked and finagled with different things for the film. All the films are based on the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they didn't even stay true to their case files.
Wow.
So it is, all of the films are fictionalized beyond recognition of the original stories. All of them are based on the information that I have. The only one that I've ever seen is The Conjuring, for obvious reasons. I had to watch it, but that movie was not based on my books. Our story is just so much more, I think, more spiritual, more based on a family's love and getting through difficulties. That it, the film bears no actual resemblance to what happened in the house. And, there was no exorcism in the house. It was a seance that the Warrens insisted was necessary. And it went so horribly wrong that it almost cost my mother her life.
Oh my God.
It was, a really bad scene, and should never have happened with 4 of her 5 children in the house.
Absolutely.
To witness what transpired.
I'm sorry, you said they did
You
the
know,
seance with all you guys in
so
the house.
Yeah, she just
yeah, I mean, she was literally picked up in the chair she was sitting in. She was literally picked up in the chair she was sitting in and tossed in a split second from the middle of our dining room to the middle of the parlor. And when her head struck the floor, I think everybody in the house thought she had just died.
I would have thought.
What I will tell you is that I cannot say whether or not demons exist, but I know that pure evil does. And whatever it was that attacked my mother that night had all the power that it could need to have killed her. And it didn't kill her. It wanted to make its presence known to the Warrens, and it did so very effectively.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I think you had said that 40 years later she had come. Lorraine Warren came in and said that they were in over their heads. What did she mean by that? Like there were more spirits, or she was not prepared, or
they were not prepared for what they walked into at the farmhouse. She admitted that mistakes were made. I was with her out in California for the premiere, not for the premiere. It was 3 months before March, April, May, June, July, about 4 months before the premiere of the film. Warner Brothers Studios invited her and invited me out to have a private screening of the film. And it was during our time afterward and then later at the hotel that she told me, and I took my sister Cindy out with me.
Yeah.
And that's when she told me that she and Ed didn't know what to expect. They had never encountered anything like it. Ed told her before he died in '06 that he wanted her to be sure to tell the Perron family story because he described it as the most intense, most compelling, most disturbing, and most significant of all of the investigations that they had ever conducted. But Mrs. Warren did admit that mistakes were made and that she and Ed were completely unprepared for what they encountered in that house.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I also wanted, what was it? Mr. Who was it? Mr. Kenyon. He sold you the house, correct?
Yes.
Now, did he ever say that he encountered anything, or did he just keep his mouth shut, or did nothing ever happen to him?
The only thing that he ever said to my father was, Roger, for the sake of your family, leave the lights on at night. And my father did not know how to interpret that when he said it to him.
So he knew.
It was the day that he was moving out and we were moving in. And he said that to him, I think, as a forewarning.
Right.
Not just because all of his children would be sleeping upstairs and the only bathroom was downstairs. So it was dangerous navigating those narrow old sets of stairs. But we found out subsequently over the course of time that there was, kind of just a knowledge in the area that there was never a time, no matter what time of night, that people drove past that farm, that the Kenyons hadn't left every single light on in the house all night long. And all we could do was speculate that perhaps there was activity and that's how they kept it at bay, or at least could see what was happening around them. Apparently, they were both afraid of the dark for a reason.
Yeah. Now, was there a hidden cellar, or is that just for the movie? Like when the cellar that there was no cellar?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I tell people, just put the movie right out of your mind, like you never even saw it, because it bears no resemblance to our story at all, really.
Wow.
I mean, it does leave people with grand overarching truths.
Yeah.
And that is that they leave the film with impressions. And one of them is that good does conquer evil and love conquers fear. And the Perron family endured an extreme haunting that they all survived. And all of that is true. So in the grand overarching scheme of things, that's true. But the series of events, how it went, they made my father a truck driver. My father, other than a moving van, has never driven a truck in his life. And he had his own jewelry business. He had what was known as a trunk business. And he would go
I'd
into
want a daddy
downtown
like that.
Yeah.
My dad was a plumber.
Yeah.
We had the worst plumbing in the neighborhood.
We had so much access to jewelry that we never really even wore it. I mean, it was not something that was, none of us even had pierced ears until we were about at adulthood. Okay. So no, it was dad's business. Yeah. And so he was on the road a lot. He was gone a lot. And, they made it look like, he was just I don't want to say just a truck driver. God knows truck drivers are important, especially right now while the supply chain's breaking down to nothing. He had a jewelry business. He was well established. He had a lot of clients all the way from Quebec to Ohio to Florida, every place in between. Wow. He was on the road a lot. He would service his clients 3 or 4 times a year. And go out and hit lots and lots of them until the trunk was empty. And then he would come back and restock, spend some time at home with his girls, and then turn around and go back out. So he worked very hard, and it was a hard life for him. My father's paid his dues. He's put his time in. and always made sure that we always had everything, maybe not necessarily everything we wanted, but certainly everything that we needed and a lot of what we wanted. So he was definitely a very successful breadwinner in that respect, because keeping up that enormous piece of property really took a toll on both of my parents. It was a lot to keep up with, a lot.
And not only
But they
that,
did it.
all of you girls being so afraid, or did you just, was it just you got used to it and you weren't afraid anymore? Or I bet you are afraid of
Over
nothing.
time, gradually, the worst of it subsided, and it was it was not a horrific thing like the film makes it out to be.
Right.
It was really much more of an enlightening thing.
Okay. I like that. That sounds much better. Do you, since you've left the farm, do you still have experiences like that, like in other homes that you've lived in?
Yes,
Oh, do you have some friends there now?
yes.
Oh, are they nice to you?
Uh, the one spirit that's in the house that actually is the man that built the house is not very fond of me. He
Oh,
loves my father,
well, that's
but
good.
he does. He really likes my dad, but he doesn't like. There are aspects of my personality that rub him the wrong way, like how much I curse and what a vehement feminist I am, and the way the house is decorated. He's not really happy with that. He would like it to be more to his standards. It's got a lot of antiques in it. Uh, and he just, wants things arranged a different way. He, according to one of my friends who's a medium, said he wants you to plant a vegetable garden. And my response to that is, let him plant the friggin' vegetable garden. I don't have time to plant a garden and tend a garden. I do, a beautiful flower garden on the terrace. And if that's not good enough for him, I don't care.
Oh my
I
God.
don't.
I grew up having to garden, and I said I will never ever have a garden again as long as I live. I worked on that farm from the time that I was 4 years old, and I said I will never do it again. Never, because here's little 4-year-old me carrying around a jug of water trying to water the plants, and I think I spilled more of it than I got on the plants. So I was useless, but they still made me go.
Mhm.
But I think, I told you that, I had some experiences as a child that, my parents, carted me off from psychiatrist to psychiatrist because there must be something wrong with our child. She sees things in the mirrors. She says that she hears things. She says that, because I had seen people at a party in the mirror, and I can tell you to this day what they looked like. And my mother's response was, that's not happening. This is a good house. I never said it was anything bad. They were just having a party. But my parents were very religious, and that to them was the devil.
Yeah.
So I was their demonic child. And it was hard, so I just started lying. Nope, I don't see a thing. Nope, I didn't see anything. And then I started blocking things out. And in my 20s, my sister came running into my room, so excited, and she told me that one of our favorite bands was coming to town and said, let's go. And she said, I turned white as a sheet, and I said, I don't want to go. And she said, what do you mean you don't want to go? I said, I just have a bad feeling. Well, we went, and we had a horrible car accident. And from that day on, anytime my sister, she didn't tell me this until 2 years ago, but she said, you know how I always call you and tell you, oh, we're going to go to Disneyland. Oh, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. Because I want your reaction. Because if you tell me not to go, I'm not going. I never knew
Mhm.
that's why she was telling me. I just thought she was just,
Mhm.
but she is the only person that has ever believed in me.
Yeah. Well, those gifts that you have are not gone. They might have been reservation. And there's, a sense of abandonment and childhood trauma that comes when your parents that raised you to be honest don't believe you when you tell them the truth.
Yeah.
And so that leaves scars. It does.
Definitely does. I thought there was something wrong with me.
Of course. But that's not the case at all. And so what you need to do is, if you want to, anything that you were born with in terms of your own gifts, that's all still there. All you need to do is allow it to surface and redevelop it as an adult now, where nobody can tell you anything about, what you do in terms of your own perceptions and reflections on your life, and what you came into this world knowing. And it's not fair to burden a child with that. I think that there are probably an awful lot of psychics and mediums and intuitives and sensitives and empaths that are wandering around the world that were told when they were little children, no, that's not real. No, that's your imagination. No, that can't happen. No, 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 no. And those children who are anxious for the approval of their parents,
I had horrible anxiety for years.
Yep,
but
just
I've
bury it,
always
because
encouraged my children just to be who they are. And Tia is an empath, and I've never said, "Oh, that's not." I've just always encouraged her, follow your path. And
well, I think of how many little kids have come out of their bedroom in the morning and gone to their mother or father and said, Grandma came to see me last night. And what they hear is, no, that's not possible. Your grandmother died before you were born.
Right.
When the right and proper questions to ask are, oh, she did? What did she say? Did she ask about me? What was she wearing? What did she read you? Tell me everything you remember. So, those are the questions to ask, so that the child doesn't feel like there's something wrong with them. That they're somehow that they are a victim of their own imagination, when they clearly understand that they've had a close encounter with spirit and that it profoundly touched them. And then, it basically gets shushed away, just dismissed out of hand, like, no, that's not real. Well, yes, it is. And I just think of, what the world would be like if more parents would listen to their children and believe their children and encourage their children to develop their natural born gifts.
I think my daughter was afraid to even tell me because of the way that I was treated through my family.
Yeah.
I think she was even afraid to tell me until finally she told me, and I went, "Oh, okay." I mean, she's so afraid to tell me things sometimes, like different things she's doing or different things she wants to do. And my reaction is usually, "Okay." And so I'm like, "Why are you so afraid to tell me stuff?" Like, my reaction has always been like, "Okay." Because I want both of my children to grow to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always told them, like, I don't care what you want to be as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. And I wish more parents felt that way about their kids.
I know.
I just want you to be happy. I don't care how you get there. Well, I mean, I don't want you hurting people to get there, but if this is the path that you need to take to be happy, that's the path I want you to take. Okay, I have more questions. Are you still going to do your own screenplay? You talked about it in an interview that I saw.
Am I going to do my own screenplay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, we're working on that. But we decided we weren't going to do it as feature films.
Okay.
It was just too big of a story to relegate as big films. Instead, we're developing it as a series.
Like
So
how? Like on TV or on the internet or
yeah,
what?
yeah.
I
Come here,
want to
baby.
see it.
Come on, come on, come on.
Are we gonna get to
That's
see
my
Peanut?
baby.
I didn't, you know?
All right, I have to say, Peanut has to.
Hi,
Peanut Buttercup. This my baby.
Oh my
Hi,
This is my
sweetie. Oh, you're
baby,
so
baby.
Hunter's come
sweet.
to look.
Girl.
You want to see Peanut? Is that why you came running over here? There's Peanut. See?
Hi.
My big dog came running
Mr.
over like,
Peanut,
I
this
want to
is
see
my
Peanut.
baby.
You're gonna come over to this side so you can see.
She's my
You
good
love
girl.
other
Here, I'll
puppies.
show her to you.
He
There
cannot
she
stand
is.
his
There
new
she
puppy
is.
sister.
Yeah.
Isn't she pretty? She's not like your smelly sister, huh? He cannot stand the new puppy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She
Well,
touches
little
him and he
dogs
freaks
drive
out.
big dogs crazy anyway. Mostly because they're afraid to step on them. You
You know
know, I
what?
mean, really, that's
I
it.
think
It's
he'd like
just
to
like
step
the
on her.
size thing.
I think he'd like to step on her. Because she went over thinking that he was her
Just taken from her
mother.
mom.
And she thought that she was milking him, and it turns out that he's
Mhm.
a dude, so he
Mhm.
obviously had no milk there, and he freaked out and has been afraid of her ever since. So yeah, that's why he is afraid of her.
They'll get used to each other.
Yeah, I think as
They
she gets a
will.
little bigger and closer to his size, because my daughter has a dog too, and he is a shepherd. No,
German Shepherd Pit
German-
Bull Lab.
German Shepherd Pit Bull Lab. And Hunter is a German Shepherd Black Lab. And they play together all the time. He wasn't happy when we brought him home either. So
Yeah.
I think he'll get over it.
Yeah. He will.
I think once she's closer to his size, he'll be like, well, maybe you're not such a terrible smelly baby. Okay, so
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself to be like a clairvoyant or anything like that? Or are you just a regular old person like me? Or are you just Andrea?
No, I'm irregular for sure.
Oh man,
But
we're gonna have to go
don't,
get you some milk of magnesia or
yeah. I have messages, I have visions, I have
Okay.
sightings, I have, all kinds of things that happen in my life in terms of spirit and extraterrestrial contact that have been happening to me for 50 years now. But
Did you have that before the
I
farmhouse?
don't label myself anything. No.
Huh.
No, not that I recall. Nothing before moving to the farmhouse.
Okay.
It was like that's what opened me up. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, but
Like,
I don't label myself as anything in particular.
you're
I
just
don't.
Andrea.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think of, like, for me, because I get feelings about things, and sometimes, like, I'm afraid to tell people, oh, don't go there because something bad's gonna happen, and so I'm afraid to tell them, and then something bad does happen, and then I feel bad that I didn't say anything. But how do you tell someone like, yo, I'm one of those people that can like kind of tell you bad stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I have a best friend,
Yeah.
and when I tell him stuff, he does listen now, but he had to have something bad happen first before he started believing me.
Yeah. Yep. No, I understand. No, my sister Nancy has premonitions quite a bit. My sister Cindy is very intuitive. Christine tries to block it all out. But she still has to be open to it, to a certain extent, because she's had visitations from April, our sister that passed away. She knows, I mean, our baby sister died in March of 2017.
Right.
And she was just a couple of weeks away from her 52nd birthday.
Andrea, I probably know more about you than you know about yourself.
Yeah, well,
I listen to every interview. I read about you. I'm not a stalker. I'm just a huge fan. And so is my daughter. So that's why I was so excited when you said that you would do this interview with me. And I'm still pretty, as my daughter, still pretty starstruck. So that's why I'm having so much trouble sometimes. Like,
Well,
oh my God, she's really here. She's really talking to me. So how's your dad doing though? Is he?
it's no, don't. He's doing very well. He had eye surgery last week.
Right, we talked about
and
that.
he's healing up splendidly from that.
Aww.
Yeah. So yeah.
And how old is your dad?
I'm glad. Oh, he's 86.
Oh my God, you are so blessed.
My father is 86. My mother is 82.
Oh my God.
I know, to still have them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have either of my. I wear my
So
mom's
blessed
wedding
to have
ring
them.
when I'm nervous.
Mhm.
So I'm wearing it today because I was nervous. But yeah, I was the oops baby. So I have 5 others ahead of me, and the oops baby is usually like the change of life baby. So I was fairly young when I lost my parents, but I think I was in my 30s when I lost my dad, and then my early 40s when I lost my mom. And I remember thinking, I'm an orphan. And I've always said, Mom, if you could come visit me. But I feel like she never really has, except one night when I passed out, I think I had a hallucination that she was there. I was dehydrated. I was in my bathroom. And I remember looking up and seeing her and her saying, please pick her up and put her in bed. And when I woke up, I was in bed. So I don't know if that was real or what, but I've always wanted to see my mom. And like part of me says, I just wanted to be in heaven and be happy and not look down and see any trials or tribulations that I'm going through. Because I've had a tough couple of years, like with my back surgery and things that didn't work. But then I think, I'd really love to see her just because I miss her so much. And that hug that you gave me at Paracon in Sault Ste. Marie was just like hers. And so I didn't tell you this, but after I walked away, I cried because it was so much like her hug.
I'm so glad, honey. Well, I've had people tell me that when I embrace them, that they feel like it's somebody else that's using me to hug them. Kind of like the movie Heart and Souls, where the spirit throws herself into
Robert Downey. Wasn't it Robert Downey
Robert
Jr.?
Downey Jr., yeah. and hugs her son.
Yes.
And then pulls herself back out. And I've never felt like something came into me, but I've also had sensations that I'm kind of hugging people for someone else from time to time. Yeah. Not that there was anything like a body blow or anything like that involved with it, but almost like I was channeling somebody else's love into that individual. And that's always wonderful. Like that's just wonderful when that happens.
Comforting and loving, and that's what I felt when you hugged me. And then after I walked away, I just was like so weepy. And my best friend of 40 years was there with me. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that because now people know how old I am. But, and my daughter, and I don't know if they saw me, but I just remember crying and saying that felt so much like my mom. And I've missed her for so long. And I just want to thank you for giving me that.
Oh, I'm so glad, sweetheart. Well, we'll be together again. We'll be together again.
And next year, we already have our room booked.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to be there too. Brad's already advertising that I'll be there. So yes, I will be there.
Well, anytime you come to Michigan, you let me know and I will come and find you and I will feed
Okay.
you. I will either feed you at my house or I will take you out to dinner because I want to spend time with you because I feel like you're my new friend. And I hope this isn't the
Oh,
last
that's
time we talk.
wonderful. Oh no, it won't be. Of course not. No, I'm really looking forward to going and seeing my mom. In a couple of weeks, I'll be, well, probably not even a couple of weeks, a little bit more than a week. I'll be leaving for Georgia to go spend the holidays with my mother,
Aww.
which devastates my father because this is a big house that he ends up being stuck in all by himself. But, you know, I haven't spent enough time with my mom this year, and I really need to, you know, take every opportunity to be with her. I don't want to have regrets
I'll send
later
them to
that
our
I
house. We
didn't
have
give her
people
enough
here all the
attention.
time. When we tell people, like we put it out on Facebook, if you don't have a place to go for the holidays, come to our house because we
Yeah,
don't want anybody ever to be alone
yeah,
for any holiday. So
yeah,
send them to my house.
yeah. Well, Dad comes up to Georgia for Christmas
Mhm.
and usually spends at least 3 or 4 days before he heads back down to Florida, but I stay longer.
Aw.
And I really need to, I've not had enough time with my mother. I talk to my mom virtually every day, but
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Now Cindy, she
I
lives
need to
with
be
Cindy,
there
right?
with her. Christine.
Christine. Okay.
Cindy lives down the road a ways, not maybe a couple of miles away. So, but you know, yeah, they're all right there. They're all very close to each other. And so, you know, that's good. It's not like I'm leaving my mother unattended or anything like that.
Right.
But, you know, we need to get in some serious Scrabble time. We need to, you know,
you definitely
We need
beat
to.
me because I do words like and, the, of.
Yeah, no, our Scrabble games, excuse me. Well, our Scrabble games get pretty intense. They
Oh,
do. They get pretty intense. She beats me about every 3 out of 4 games.
your
And it's
sister or
not
your
because I
mama?
let her win. It's she's just got such a deep knowledge of the language that she knows words. I don't even question them. I'm like, okay, I've never seen that word before, but I
I
learned a
question
long time
it.
ago not to challenge her. You know, these are, I
Because
mean,
they're
she
always right,
reads
right?
yep,
Oh
yep.
my
She
God, I love
reads
it.
voraciously and yeah, we have long sprawled out Scrabble games that sometimes last 2 or 3 hours. It's really quite remarkable. I really enjoy my time with my mom, and so I'll get to see her very soon.
Oh, I'm
And
so
I'm truly
happy.
looking forward to it.
Give your mama a hug from me too,
I will.
because I
I
gotta
hug
tell
her for
you,
all my friends.
after our parents were gone, I mean, let me tell you, my siblings are like the beginning of a dirty joke. Two Jehovah's Witnesses, a Mormon, a Baptist, a non-denominational, and a Catholic. I mean, we're like the beginning of a dirty joke. But the unfortunate part is we live all over. And I think there's three of us still in Michigan out of the six. And I did not see my sister that I was closest to for 10 years. And she
Oh,
lives an hour away. And it was kind of like her husband. Um, and it broke my heart. But when I finally got to see her, I cried so hard. And like my brother, I see him maybe once or twice a year, but the others, I don't see them. And it to me that's so sad, and I think it's so wonderful that your family is all still so close. I think
yeah, very
that what
close.
happened in that farmhouse had to happen in order to keep you all so close.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of answering the earlier question, there were about 100 different reasons why we stayed at the farm. But when I look back on it in retrospect now, I realized that we stayed at the farm because we were supposed to stay at the farm.
Yeah.
That we were supposed to, that was our destiny, and that we were supposed to see everything that we did and experience everything that we did. And then 30 plus years after we left the farm, I was supposed to be the one to tell the story. And I understand that now.
And you were supposed to become my new friend. I have one friend. I'm not kidding you. After my back surgery, all of my friends left. My boyfriend left. He passed away 2 years later. But, I mean, he left. He just left me here to fend for myself. And most of my friends left. And I have one and a half left. And my kids. And that's it. And I'm pretty content with just my kids and my one and a half friends. But it would be nice to have a few more. Like when I was in the
Well,
hospital, nobody came.
yeah, it's I have been blessed with lifelong friendships. In fact, when I was in Rhode Island a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
I managed to squeeze in dinner with two of my oldest friends. We've known each other since we were all 12 years old, Tim and Ray. And we had a delightful dinner together. It was absolutely wonderful. Full evening spent just reminiscing
I
and
love it.
revisiting our lives together, and there were times, I mean, Tim lived out in California for years and years. I didn't see him for well more than a decade. But that didn't matter because it's kind of like no matter where we are, we're still together. It doesn't matter. As soon as we come back together, we just pick up right where we left off. But I literally have hundreds of friends, and
Oh my
I
God,
consider
you're so
myself
lucky.
the richest woman in the world.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. It's not like the reason that I have lifelong friendships with people that have endured for many, many decades is because I know how to be a good friend, and I know how to be there for my friends. And
Yeah.
they know that they can pick up the phone any time of day or night and that I will take that call. And it's very important to have that. So
It
I
is.
feel really enriched by the relationships that I have nurtured over the course of my lifetime.
My
Sometimes I think I have too many friends. That can be a little overwhelming. I mean, I wake up and I've got 8 messages to answer in my phone, and it's like, oh my God, I haven't even had my coffee yet.
my
What are you
two best
people doing
friends
up?
actually from
But
childhood were sisters. And this
mhm,
one, I would always get this feeling, and I think, I really need to call her. I just have a feeling I need to call her. And I would call her, and it would usually be good news, oh, I'm having another baby or something like that. And I did not get this feeling, and did not call her. And then finally, my brother, who still lives next door to her parents, said, Hey, Rhonda's in the hospital. You need to call her. And I tried and tried and tried and tried to call her, and she passed away. And then her sister and I started chit chatting a lot more because of it. And she said that because my son has a hearing issue, we do sign language as well as, scream at each other a lot so you can
mhm,
hear me. And she said, I'm gonna FaceTime him and sing happy birthday in sign language on his birthday. And when the day came and went, I really did not think too much about it. I thought, well, she probably forgot or she's busy. I'm not going to bug her. And I found out that she was in the hospital and she passed away also. And these were my two best friends as a kid. And so I just think I'm glad that I got to spend that phone time because she was supposed to come in the spring and visit with me. I had no idea she was that sick. And I knew she was sick. I didn't know she was that sick. And her sister, I didn't even find out she was sick until she She was already going. And so, I mean, really, those were my two best friends as a kid. So the only ones that I really have, I mean, my friend Beth from the last 40 years. I mean, I met her when I was 15. Um, so, yeah, I've got her, but like as far as like little kids, I don't have them anymore. They're gone. And I just found a picture of them just before I talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me say, "Aw, they'd be so
Well,
excited to know I'm talking to you."
I think that we're all very connected and connected in ways that we don't even understand.
Yeah.
And so I don't really think of it, as much as it pains me not to be able to hold my sister in my arms anymore when we see each other over the holidays. I know she's there. She always makes her presence known to us, always.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And so it's, it's difficult and it's sad and I miss her terribly, but I also have the comfort of knowing she's always around us all of the time.
I love it.
And my friend Chip Coffey, who is a world-renowned psychic medium,
Yeah.
he's like, you're holding on to her. You're not letting her go off and do her good work. And I'm like, no, really, Chip, I'm not. He said, no, you're keeping her earthbound because of your grief. And she doesn't want to leave until she knows you're okay. And I'm like, I really don't, I don't think so. I think that April comes and goes as she damn well pleases, the same way she did in life.
I was gonna say just like she did in life.
Yeah,
So we are
so we
supposed
have
to let
a little
them.
bit of a discrepancy the way that we perceive April's visitations.
Yeah.
But every now and then he'll call me at like 11:15 at night and say, your sister's banging down the back door of my brain and she's got a message for you and I have to call you and let you know. And I'm like, okay, what now?
I love it. I wish somebody would call me and say, your mother told me to tell you, stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is a very profound connection. I don't think that anybody's ever really gone. They're just in a different form. Energy has taken a different form.
Yeah.
Energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. It just is. But it transforms. And April's has, and she's free of pain. She had a miserable last decade or so of her life. She had all kinds of spinal issues and
I totally
really
understand
suffered.
that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, suffered terribly, and she's free now. And so I suppose in that respect, I can be grateful for her her freedom from pain. But we all miss her off. I mean, Thanksgiving morning, I'm on the phone texting with all of my sisters about, April's watching the Macy's parade. And oh my God, remember how she loved the dog show? And oh my God, remember how she'd show up late for dinner or she'd show up early and just start picking at the food, but she wouldn't do anything to help cook it. She just, taste tested everything. And we would laugh and we would cry and, we would back and forth about missing her on the holidays because Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter were her favorite holidays. And so not one passes that we don't keep her alive in heart and say her name with love and honor her. And she was a very, very difficult personality. I mean, I had some terrible fights with April during the course of our lifetime together, and I would do anything now to have her back so that she could get on my last raw nerve just one more time.
I hear you. I told God once, if you'll take 10 years of my life just to give my mom one more day, I'll do it. But you made me cry
That's
with your
not the
story.
way it works.
You made me cry
Yeah,
with your story.
it's
I'm not
not the
crying
way
over
it
mine.
works. Yeah, it's
I understand that
it's
love,
hard,
though.
you know. Yeah, it is. It's powerful and it's profound. But that's the thing, it never goes away. It never does. I know it's
My dog
hard.
came over to see
But
what's
I'm
that lady
really
making you
glad
cry
that
for.
we had this time together today.
I appreciate you so much. And I really do hope we'll stay in touch. If you ever need to talk or you need
Yes,
me for anything, I want you on my phone
thank you.
because I'm
Thank
always
you. I
here.
appreciate that.
I have no life,
I
remember? I'm the one person you
yeah.
can call,
Well, you
and
need to make one.
it's
Make a life.
hard.
Start developing the gifts that you decided that you had to forsake as a child, and start developing those gifts and start reaching out to others, and expand your circle. Expand your circle. Happiness
I
is an
just did by
inside
one.
job. And what?
I just did by one. You.
Oh, yes. It's important to you have to make your reality. You do. And just reach out to others, and let them know that you're there to listen to them, and then you will find that they will listen to you, and before you know it, you have a beautiful kinship. I mean, all I did was answer a message that you had left on, I think, the Buttercup Brigade,
Yeah.
about, you had left me a personal message.
Yeah.
And I get hundreds of messages a day that I'm not free to answer. It's all that I would do is answer Facebook messages. If if I were to answer them all, I just can't. But I happened to notice that you had said that you'd left me a personal message, and something told me to go and read it, and from that came this.
Yeah.
And so everything happens in its right and proper time with purpose and reason. We just have to have faith and have hope for the future and live our lives accordingly. It's, what other options do we have? The only other alternative is just not to be here anymore. And I don't consider that a good, viable alternative.
No, I don't either.
So
I have two kids and too many dogs that depend on me.
yeah,
So
that are depending on you. Yeah. So make your path and
I
broaden
will.
your circle, expand your horizons. Now that, we're in a position where at least, those of us that are vaccinated can, kind of come out of seclusion and
Yes.
start to feel more secure about interacting with others. Use that as an opportunity, and get back on your path, because I think that you're very gifted, and that you decided just for your own self-protection to barricade that somewhere in the back of your mind.
I did.
Start going inward. Start doing some meditation and really letting all of that resurface, and I think you will be amazed by what comes of it. Okay,
You are awesome.
I promise you I will be in touch.
Yes, I appreciate you so very much, and I appreciate that you said yes. Because, I never expected that you would agree to do this interview with me, and I'm just still starstruck and amazed, and I appreciate you so very much. That I'm going to put into the interview.
Okay, you're very welcome, Trish. It's wonderful to see you again, sweetheart. And you take care, and I will be in touch with you. I think I only have hardcover books left. I think that's
fine.
all I have, and
That's
but
kind of
it's a
what she's
beautiful
looking for.
set. It's a beautiful set. I'm going to go through what I've got left.
Mhm.
I've been shipping books all week long.
Is
I'm
your new
waiting for
one
another order.
is your new one out yet too?
Is my what?
The newest one? Is that out yet?
No. I have not completely added all the photos and everything, but
Okay.
it'll be coming, and it'll be worth the wait. It'll be coming shortly. I've just been traveling too much. You know, I need a clone machine. Unfortunately, it's on
come to
back
Michigan
order
and
at
I'll take you to
Amazon.
lunch or feed you because I'm a great cook. So
Yeah,
I'm the
no, okay,
frugal
yeah, maybe
gourmand.
after you guys all thaw out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you
All
be
right.
safe.
Yeah,
You
I'm
take very
going
good
to.
care of yourself. You have a wonderful Christmas. And
You too.
thank you so much,
Thank
my
you.
new
You
friend.
too. You're welcome. Okay, and I will be in touch with you. I'll get all that. I'll get the last box of books opened and see what I've got. I'm pretty sure it's all hardcover.
Okay.
But I'll get that done, and I'll be in touch with you about that tomorrow. Okay.
Perfect. I'm always here.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, my new
Great.
friend.
Mm. You're very welcome, sweetheart. You have a great night. Enjoy your family, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.